Well, joining us now is dperry, international affairs analyst. I think the first question that everybody has is Netanyahu realistically in a position to shape these talks?
I wouldn't rule out that persuasion still exists in this world, and who knows, Trump might listen to Netanyahu's arguments and be swayed. I think Netanyahu comes with very powerful arguments. The objection to Iran is not just about the nuclear program, it's also about the ballistic missiles and their absolutely outrageous policy of filling the Middle East with militias that do their bidding and undermine these countries. The music coming out of public statements, and generally I would say that we can safely ignore public statements during negotiations, but the music we're hearing is that Iran's going to insist it be solely about the nuclear. And I'm getting the sense that they might be willing to limit nuclear uranium enrichment to maybe 5%, the civilian level. And that's where Trump may have something to give them because he's insisting that they do no enrichment at all. In this, he doesn't have much of a leg to stand on because as members of the NPT, they're allowed to do civilian level enrichment. So one can envision where this ends up with a deal where Iran basically promises not to enrich at weaponizable levels. And Trump suffices with that, declares victory, and says it's so great because Sleepy Joe could never have done it. But it would be very similar to the Obama-era agreement where the issue was verification and Trump walked away from it, and I'm sure he'll claim that now verification is serious. So Israel doesn't want that because Israel considered that after the 12-day war, there was a rare moment where you could force the regime's hand, and that is slipping away. And I think what Netanyahu is going to try to convince Trump of is that it would be very foolish. It would be the actions of a sucker and a loser to let that opportunity slip away.
Right. We're also seeing these varying reports that Israel may consider a strike of its own if the United States, in fact, chooses not to move forward with military pressure. The question, of course, is what that would mean in terms of Israeli-American relations. If that is something that, Trump would perhaps support, it would maybe relieve some type of domestic pressure that he's facing regarding getting involved in Iran, and how far Israel is really willing to go when it comes to this issue.
I think this attaches to the unknowable question of whether, or maybe it is knowable, whether Israel can take such action without American permission, especially when America is so intimately involved in everything about the interaction currently with Iran. A lot of people are going to be skeptical that Israel can take that move without American permission. And you'll hear other voices in Israel saying, well, they have no choice because, Israel's existence is at stake. That's somewhat false because Israel also faced the threat from ballistic missiles for over a decade or more and did nothing about it until they felt like they could or that they were pushed too far last June. I'm doubting Israel can do something against America's wishes, but it's not inconceivable that the U.S., while pretending otherwise in public, will allow them to do that because, as you were suggesting in your question, it's a better look internationally.